There's a quiet power in restraint. In a world that often tells us to chase, to demand, to plead for attention, there's something revolutionary about stepping back and standing still. When we beg for what we deserve or chase after what isn't meant for us, we lose sight of our own worth. The truth is, you are already enough. You don't need to prove your value to anyone who cannot see it. Owning your worth and setting boundaries with conviction is one of the most transformative acts of self-love and empowerment. It's about recognizing the inherent value that you bring to the table, standing firm in your sense of self, and refusing to compromise that worth for anyone or anything. In a world where external validation is often overemphasized, owning your worth is an act of rebellion, a declaration that your sense of self is not up for negotiation. Understanding your worth begins with a deep, internal acknowledgement of who you are. It's not about arrogance or superiority, it's about accepting yourself, flaws, strengths, and everything in between. The world has a tendency to project unrealistic expectations, pressuring us to conform, to please, and to seek approval. But when you own your worth, you're no longer swayed by these external forces. Instead, you operate from a place of authenticity, grounded in the truth of your identity and values. This journey requires clarity. Ask yourself, what do I value most in life? What are my non-negotiables? What do I deserve in relationships and work and in the way I am treated? When you take the time to reflect on these questions, you build a foundation for understanding your worth. And with this understanding comes the courage to set boundaries that protect your peace, your energy, and your dignity. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out or being difficult, it's about self-preservation and self-respect. It's saying, I will not tolerate behavior that diminishes me, and I will not overextend myself to meet the needs of others at the expense of my own well-being. This might mean declining an invitation, saying no to additional responsibilities at work, or walking away from a relationship that no longer serves you. Boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines that teach others how to treat you and, perhaps more importantly, remind you how to treat yourself. The act of setting boundaries requires courage because it often comes with resistance. People who have benefited from your lack of boundaries may push back. They might label you as selfish or difficult. But remember, protecting your worth is not about pleasing everyone else, it's about honoring yourself. It's about understanding that your energy is finite and that giving it away indiscriminately diminishes your ability to nurture what truly matters. Owning your worth and setting boundaries also means letting go of the fear of rejection or abandonment. Too often, people stay in situations or relationships that undermine their value because they fear being alone. But loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of connection, and you cannot truly connect with others if you're disconnected from yourself. When you prioritize your worth, you're telling the universe that you trust it to fill your life with people and experiences that align with your values and respect your boundaries. This process isn't always easy, especially if you've spent years seeking validation from others or neglecting your own needs. But every step you take toward owning your worth strengthens your relationship with yourself. It's in the moments of discomfort and uncertainty that you grow. It's when you choose to say no to something that doesn't align with your values, even if it's difficult, that you affirm your worth. One of the most profound shifts that occurs when you own your worth is the change in the way others perceive and treat you. When you walk through life with confidence and self-assuredness, you radiate a quiet strength that commands respect. People begin to recognize that you are not someone to be taken lightly. Your boundaries signal that you value yourself, and this, in turn, encourages others to value you as well. This isn't to say that everyone will respond positively. Some people may distance themselves, and that's okay. Owning your worth means accepting that not everyone is meant to be in your life. It means understanding that quality always trumps quantity when it comes to relationships. The people who truly matter are those who uplift you, respect your boundaries, and celebrate your worth. It's also important to remember that owning your worth is a continuous journey, not a one-time declaration. Life will challenge you. There will be moments when you doubt yourself or feel pressured to compromise. In these moments, return to your foundation. Remind yourself of your values, your non-negotiables, and the reasons why you deserve respect and dignity. Surround yourself with people who reinforce these truths and who encourage you to stand firm in your worth. Practicing self-care is another essential aspect of owning your worth. This doesn't just mean taking bubble baths or going for walks, although those can be wonderful forms of care. It means consistently showing up for yourself, even when it's hard. It means setting aside time to rest, to pursue your passions, and to invest in your growth. It means speaking kindly to yourself, forgiving yourself for mistakes, and celebrating your achievements. When you care for yourself in this way, you reinforce the message that you are valuable and deserving of love and attention, especially from yourself. Finally, owning your worth and setting boundaries with conviction requires patience. Change doesn't happen overnight, and you may encounter setbacks along the way. But every time you choose to prioritize your worth, you're creating a ripple effect. You're not just changing your life, you're modeling a powerful example for others. You're showing the world that it's possible to live with integrity, to honor yourself, and to demand the respect you deserve. So stand tall in your worth. Speak your truth with confidence. Set boundaries that protect your heart and soul. And trust that by doing so, you're not only transforming your own life, but also inspiring others to do the same. Owning your worth is not just a personal act, it's a revolutionary statement that says, I am enough exactly as I am. Embracing the power of silence and self-respect is an act of reclaiming control over your life, your emotions, and your energy. In a world that often equates noise with importance and action with progress, choosing silence can feel counterintuitive. But there is an undeniable strength in the spaces we create for ourselves when we stop chasing after validation and approval. Silence is not an absence, it is a presence, a profound, grounding presence that allows us to realign with our inner truth and reclaim our self-respect. At its core, embracing silence is about recognizing the value of your voice and choosing when and how to use it. It's about understanding that you don't have to fill every moment with explanations, justifications, or pleas for understanding. Your worth is not tied to how well you can articulate your value to others. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is to say nothing at all. Silence, when rooted in self-respect, speaks volumes. Self-respect is a natural extension of this principle. It's the quiet assurance that you do not need to overexert yourself to prove your value or to win someone's approval. It's about stepping back from situations or people who demand more from you than they are willing to give. When you respect yourself, you understand that your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth are precious resources. You no longer waste them on pursuits that drain you or on relationships that don't honor your worth. One of the most significant ways silence fosters self-respect is by allowing you the space to listen to your intuition. In the chaos of daily life, it's easy to lose sight of your needs and desires. Constantly speaking, explaining, or justifying can drown out your inner voice. But when you choose silence, you create an opportunity to reconnect with yourself. You can ask the important questions: what do I truly want? What feels right for me? What aligns with my values and boundaries? In that silence, answers begin to emerge. This is not to say that silence is always comfortable. It can feel uneasy, especially if you've been conditioned to seek external validation or to fill awkward moments with words. But leaning into that discomfort is where growth happens. It's where you learn to sit with yourself, to face your fears and doubts, and to emerge stronger and more self-assured. Silence teaches resilience. It's a reminder that you don't need constant affirmation from others to feel complete. Embracing silence and self-respect also shifts the dynamics of your relationships. When you stop chasing, explaining, or trying to force connections, you begin to attract people who respect you for who you are. Your silence sends a clear message: I value myself, and I will not compromise my dignity to gain your attention or approval. This boundary creates space for healthy, mutual relationships to flourish, relationships built on respect, trust, and authenticity. There's also a profound wisdom in understanding when to speak and when to remain silent. Not every battle needs to be fought, and not every slight needs to be addressed. Choosing silence in certain situations doesn't mean you're weak or passive, it means you're discerning. It means you recognize that some conversations are not worth your energy, that some arguments cannot be won, and that some people are not ready to hear your truth. Silence in these moments is an act of grace for yourself and for others. It's important to distinguish, however, between empowering silence and silence born of fear or suppression. True, empowering silence is a choice. It comes from a place of strength and self-awareness. It's not about avoiding conflict or suppressing your voice, but about choosing when and where to use it effectively. On the other hand, silence born of fear can be harmful. It's crucial to ensure that your silence is serving your growth and self-respect, not diminishing your sense of self. Practicing silence and self-respect requires mindfulness and intentionality. It's about being present with your emotions and recognizing when you're tempted to speak or act out of insecurity. For example, when someone dismisses your feelings or opinions, the impulse to over-explain or defend yourself can be strong. But in that moment, ask yourself, do I need to prove myself to this person? Does their opinion define my worth? More often than not, the answer is no. Choosing silence in these moments is a way of reclaiming your power. Similarly, silence can be a tool for de-escalation in conflict. Instead of reacting impulsively or engaging in unproductive arguments, you can choose to step back, reflect, and respond with clarity and intention. This doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations, but approaching them from a place of calm and self-respect. Silence gives you the time and space to formulate your thoughts and to ensure that your actions align with your values. Self-respect also involves recognizing when to walk away. Silence can be a form of closure, a way of saying, I respect myself too much to stay in a situation that no longer serves me. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a draining job, or an unbalanced friendship, choosing silence can be a powerful act of liberation. It's a way of prioritizing your well-being and creating space for new opportunities that align with your worth. To embrace silence and self-respect is to commit to a life of intentionality and authenticity. It's about trusting that you don't need to shout to be heard or to chase to be valued. Your presence, your energy, and your voice are enough exactly as they are. When you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. When you practice self-respect, you're affirming that you are deserving of love, dignity, and peace. In the end, silence and self-respect are not just practices, they are mindsets. They are ways of moving through the world with grace and confidence, knowing that your worth is inherent and unshakable. So let your silence speak for you when words are not needed, and let your self-respect guide you toward a life that honors who you truly are. In doing so, you'll find not only a deeper connection with yourself, but also a world that reflects the respect and authenticity you bring to it. Trusting in authenticity and allowing what is meant for you to align is a powerful principle that fosters peace, fulfillment, and genuine connection. At its heart, authenticity means embracing who you are, your values, passions, strengths, and even your imperfections, and presenting yourself honestly to the world. When you live authentically, you cultivate trust not only in yourself, but also in the natural flow of life. This trust allows you to let go of control, stop forcing outcomes, and open yourself to the opportunities and relationships that are truly meant for you. Authenticity begins with self-awareness. It requires a deep understanding of your identity, what you stand for, and what brings you joy and purpose. In a society often driven by external validation, it can be tempting to mold yourself to fit the expectations of others. You may find yourself striving for approval, success, or acceptance at the expense of your true self. But this path leads to exhaustion and dissatisfaction because it's not rooted in who you genuinely are. To live authentically, you must ask yourself, who am I when no one else is watching? What do I want and what do I need, regardless of outside opinions? Embracing authenticity doesn't mean you won't face challenges. In fact, living authentically often requires courage. It means being vulnerable, speaking your truth, and sometimes making difficult choices that prioritize your well-being over societal expectations. It's about saying, this is who I am, and I trust that being myself is enough. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it is a strength. It's a way of showing up in the world without pretense, allowing others to see you as you truly are. One of the most profound outcomes of living authentically is the alignment it creates in your life. Alignment happens when your actions, relationships, and pursuits reflect your core values and true self. When you live authentically, you attract people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with your energy and purpose. There's no need to chase or force things to happen because what is meant for you will naturally align. It's a beautiful, almost magical process, a reminder that when you honor your truth, the universe responds in kind. However, trusting in authenticity and alignment requires patience. In a culture that celebrates instant gratification, it's easy to feel frustrated when things don't fall into place immediately. But alignment is not about rushing or controlling, it's about trusting the process and allowing life to unfold in its own time. This trust stems from an understanding that what is truly meant for you will not pass you by. It may take time, and the path may not always be clear, but when you stay true to yourself, you pave the way for genuine fulfillment. Letting go of control is a key aspect of this journey. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that success and happiness come from relentless effort, from pushing and striving until we achieve our goals. While hard work and determination are important, there's a significant difference between working toward your dreams and forcing outcomes that may not be aligned with your true self. Forcing things often leads to frustration and disconnection because it's rooted in fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. Trusting in authenticity means releasing this fear and understanding that you don't have to force anything to prove your worth. This principle is especially powerful in relationships. Authenticity is the foundation of healthy, meaningful connections. When you present yourself honestly, you give others the opportunity to see and appreciate you for who you truly are. This fosters trust and mutual respect. On the other hand, when you pretend to be someone you're not or suppress your needs and feelings to maintain a relationship, you create a foundation of imbalance and inauthenticity. True relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, are built on honesty, vulnerability, and alignment. It's important to recognize that not everyone will resonate with your authenticity, and that's okay. When you live authentically, some people may drift away because they no longer align with who you are. This can be difficult, but it's also liberating. It clears space for relationships and connections that truly honor and uplift you. Trust that the right people will come into your life and stay because they appreciate you for who you are, not for who they want you to be. Living authentically also means embracing your imperfections. Too often, people hide their flaws out of fear of judgment or rejection. But your imperfections are part of what makes you unique and relatable. They are not weaknesses to be ashamed of, but facets of your humanity to be embraced. When you accept yourself fully, flaws and all, you free yourself from the burden of perfectionism and allow others to connect with the real you. Another crucial aspect of trusting in authenticity is learning to say no. When you're authentic, you're clear about your boundaries and priorities. You understand that saying yes to everything often means saying no to yourself. It's okay to decline opportunities or relationships that don't align with your values. In fact, saying no is an act of self-respect and a way of honoring your truth. Trust that by saying no to what doesn't serve you, you're making room for what does. Authenticity also extends to how you pursue your goals. It's about ensuring that your aspirations are genuinely yours and not a reflection of societal expectations or the desires of others. Finally, trusting in authenticity means being open to change. As you grow and evolve, your understanding of yourself may shift. This is natural and necessary. Living authentically is not about rigidly adhering to a fixed identity, but about continuously aligning with your truth as it unfolds. Trust that this process of evolution will lead you to greater alignment and fulfillment. In conclusion, trusting in authenticity and alignment is about honoring your truth, letting go of control, and having faith that what is meant for you will come. It's about living with integrity, embracing your imperfections, and allowing life to unfold in its own time. When you trust in authenticity, you create a life that feels meaningful, joyful, and aligned with your deepest values. Remember, you don't have to chase what is meant for you. By being true to yourself, you allow it to find you. Practicing patience and acceptance while focusing on personal fulfillment is a transformative way to approach life. These principles teach us to embrace the present moment, accept what we cannot control, and channel our energy into creating a life that resonates with our values and aspirations. At a time when the world often prioritizes speed and external achievements, patience and acceptance remind us that fulfillment is a deeply personal journey, not a race. Patience begins with understanding that life unfolds in its own time. In a culture driven by instant gratification, waiting can feel uncomfortable, even unbearable. However, the most meaningful experiences, building strong relationships, mastering a skill, or achieving a long-term goal often require time and effort. Practicing patience allows us to appreciate the journey rather than constantly focusing on the destination. It invites us to slow down, trust the process, and recognize that growth happens gradually. One of the greatest challenges to patience is our desire for control. When things don't go according to plan, it's easy to feel frustrated or anxious. Yet, life is inherently unpredictable. Practicing patience means letting go of the need to control every outcome and learning to adapt to unforeseen circumstances. This doesn't mean giving up on your goals or ambitions. Instead, it means understanding that setbacks and delays are a natural part of life, and that they often hold valuable lessons. Acceptance is a complementary practice that goes hand in hand with patience. It's about embracing reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation or passivity. It's not about settling for less than you deserve. Instead, it's about acknowledging the present moment without judgment. It's saying, this is where I am right now, and that's okay. By accepting your current circumstances, you free yourself from the struggle of resistance and create space for clarity and forward movement. Acceptance also requires self-compassion. Too often, people are harsh critics of themselves, holding on to guilt, shame, or regret over past decisions. But these emotions only weigh you down. Practicing acceptance means forgiving yourself for your mistakes and recognizing that you are a work in progress. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a loved one. When patience and acceptance are combined, they create a powerful foundation for personal fulfillment. Fulfillment is not about achieving a specific status or ticking off items on a checklist. It's about living a life that feels meaningful and aligned with your values. It's about finding joy in the present moment and pursuing what genuinely matters to you. To focus on personal fulfillment, start by identifying your core values. What brings you joy? What gives your life purpose? These questions may take time to answer, and that's okay. The journey of self-discovery is an integral part of the process. When you're clear on your values, you can make decisions that align with them, whether it's choosing a career path, building relationships, or pursuing hobbies and passions. Patience is crucial when working toward fulfillment because meaningful goals often take time to achieve. Whether it's starting a new business, learning a new skill, or building a family, these endeavors require consistent effort and resilience. Impatience can lead to shortcuts or settling for less, which ultimately detracts from the sense of accomplishment and satisfaction that comes from staying true to your path. Acceptance plays a key role in maintaining balance and perspective along the journey. Not every day will be perfect, and not every effort will yield immediate results. There will be challenges, disappointments, and moments of doubt. Acceptance allows you to acknowledge these realities without letting them derail you. It reminds you that setbacks are temporary and that they don't define your worth or your potential. Another important aspect of personal fulfillment is cultivating gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. It's a practice that enhances patience by helping you appreciate the progress you've made and the blessings in your life. When you approach each day with a sense of gratitude, you're less likely to feel rushed or dissatisfied. Instead, you'll find joy in the small, everyday moments that make life meaningful. It's also essential to set realistic expectations for yourself and others. Unrealistic expectations can lead to frustration and disappointment, which undermine patience and acceptance. By being honest about what is achievable within a given time frame or situation, you create a sense of balance and avoid unnecessary stress. This doesn't mean lowering your standards, it means approaching your goals with a sense of realism and flexibility. Focusing on personal fulfillment also involves prioritizing your well-being. Self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental health ensures that you have the energy and resilience to pursue your goals and navigate challenges. Whether it's through exercise, meditation, creative expression, or spending time with loved ones, self-care helps you stay grounded and connected to yourself. Lastly, practicing patience and acceptance while focusing on personal fulfillment requires a mindset of growth. Life is not a static journey, it's an evolving process. Your goals, values, and priorities may shift over time, and that's okay. Embrace change as an opportunity for growth rather than a source of fear. Trust that each step you take, no matter how small, contributes to your overall journey. In moments of doubt or frustration, remind yourself of the bigger picture. Reflect on how far you've come and the lessons you've learned along the way. Celebrate your progress, no matter how incremental it may seem. Remember that fulfillment is not about perfection, it's about progress and alignment with your true self. To live a life rooted in patience, acceptance, and personal fulfillment is to cultivate a sense of peace and purpose that transcends external circumstances. It's about trusting the journey, embracing the present moment, and creating a life that reflects who you truly are. When you practice these principles, you're not just surviving, you're thriving, one intentional step at a time. In conclusion, patience and acceptance are transformative tools that empower us to navigate life with grace and resilience. By letting go of the need to rush or control every outcome, we create space for meaningful growth and fulfillment. Focusing on what truly matters, our values, well-being, and personal aspirations leads to a life of authenticity and joy. Trust the process, embrace each moment as it comes, and remember that fulfillment is not a destination but a way of living aligned with your true self.